Perfect. So now that we got the ICF poured in the last video, it's time to get our sills on and build the floor here. And then we can start putting the logs on top of the floor. There's a lot of anchor bolts, but I really don't mind, you know, to hold this big log house to the foundation. So it's a fair bit extra work drilling out all these bolts, but the way I've been doing it here has been working really well. So I really don't mind. When you put these anchor bolts in, or have a helper put these anchor bolts in, it's important you get them in quick so they're in strong concrete. But you never get them quite perfectly straight. And you can see I laid out, snapped a line here, if you don't mind showing there, just where that board is going, and that's what I measure off of. I actually can't read it that way. It's hard to get it centered just perfectly. Perfect. This might not be necessarily the easiest way to do this. I mean, you could also try and just hold this board up here where you want it and then hit it with the hammer. The trouble is, there's so many bolts that some are a little bit lower and whatever. You wouldn't get them all in the first try. And then it's pretty awkward, big 2x10 here by myself. So I'm happy to do it this way. I am sure happy to have a camera person today. I think maybe, is this the first time in 7 years of making videos that I've had a camera person? Is it? I don't think I ever have. I just couldn't find a good way to set the camera up on here. I've broke enough stuff to set it up there and have it fall on the concrete. Perfect. Really good. So I'm kind of just test fitting everything here and making sure everything sits nice and level before I seal everything up, and it's been sitting just perfect. This gives me the chance to fix any high spots or out of levelness in here before it's glued together, because it will throw off my floor. Nice. Now we'll tighten this down, and it'll pinch that gasket together with the silicone if there's any low spots there, and it'll really seal this up good. That turned out really well, and there's not a great big hole here, you know, it's literally only 1/32 of a drill bit bigger. When we tighten this back down there, it really squishes that seal good. These are set just perfect. Perfect depth. You don't want to tighten them too tight though. All you do is yield the wood. Takes a little longer to pre-fit these before sealing them, but if you glue it together and put that gasket, it's hard to fix any problems. So I set them all up and make sure they were good, and I just check and make sure everything is level. But what you'll find after doing concrete like this is the top won't be perfectly smooth. Where there was just a little bit of a high spot, I just bought this disc off Amazon and I would just sand it off a little bit, and that seemed to work good. I was so nervous coming into this year because I was on a real time crunch. These logs can only stay outside unprotected like this for so long. It's been so dry, the grass has hardly grown, the whole damn country's been on fire. I mean, every day here this summer it seems it's smoky. Like, just look at this horizon shot I took the other day. So it's been a horrible thing, but it actually has kept these logs absolutely beautiful. But they've also been curing and drying out and settling down together perfectly. You see, friends, the trouble is not a single one of these boards is perfectly straight, so you really got to watch everything. They can even be different thicknesses. I put a board in over here and I just couldn't make sense of what was going on until I realized it was a 1/4 inch shorter than what a lot of them usually are. I cannot wait to throw joists on this house. I can't wait. But this is turning out just perfect. Better than I expected, but mind you, I did spend a whole pile of time doing this. But I kind of figure, guys, she might as well be as level as I can get her, because it's the whole house that sits on this. I thought a lot about using I-joists for this, but this has been the most expensive year of my life. This ICF and footings and everything we're looking at here has been the most expensive project I've ever done. So I took a look at my bank account and it told me very clearly that I was going to be using 2x10s. It is substantially cheaper. But 2x10s are not going to stretch this distance, of course. I got a main beam that runs all the way down this and notches into the wall there. Beautiful. Beautiful. Just about made a mess there. I really want to build the floor for this house, and before I do that, I got to make and install these main beams that hold up the floor. So I just made this one, and I'm excited to make the next ones and get them all supported here, guys. Let's get right at her. So this post here, guys, it's gonna hold up the beam for the floor. So I'm hoping that now I'll be able to get this beam set here before the day's over. It'll bear right on the concrete wall here and sit on this frame wall I did, just like that. Man, this crane has just been the best money I've ever spent, ever. Get my eyes in the sky going here for this lift so I could see.
Home point updated.
Fucking thing's confused. When you do things by yourself long enough, you kind of find all these ways to get these things to work, eh? Okay, so I'll set my screen here. See right into the house, eh? Otherwise I'd never get this set. I do this enough, I need a stand here to hold the drone thing here. Okay, time to go. You can see I snapped chalk lines all the way down my curb wall here. Keep these walls perfectly straight. Nice, really nice. I may have put the last one upside down. I guess it doesn't matter here what I'm doing now. Concrete and wood don't mix, you gotta protect it. The moisture from the concrete is an issue. So friends, I got 2 more beams to build here, and one thing I found on the first one was you want to be using boards pretty damn straight if you can. And I'll show you why. What I found, friends, is once you glue and nail these first 2 or 3 plies together, if this is at all crooked, it's very hard to straighten because you nail it in so much. So at least getting those first boards straight, especially if you're making a longer beam, like you just want it to be straight. Well, friends, I should show you what I'm trying to do here. Down the center of this house, I have support. Where I need these beams is where there's nowhere supporting underneath. So because this is my big living room in the house, it's going to be nice if this is open. So that's where beams are nice. So I built this up to the standard of my engineered plans. So that ensures it's going to meet the right deflection and it's going to be A1. However, here's another spot. This is only an 8-foot span. It's very small. And it was a smaller beam in the plan, but I said, why not just make it all the same? It might make it easier, and it doesn't cost very much to build a beam like that. And it's going to go across this support and then here. And then at the end, there was actually no beam at all. But there's doors here, and I would have to frame this wall so that it would come right up and carry the weight of the joist. But all I had to do is make another 11-foot beam for this to be really good all the way down the center, and then I don't have to frame headers on top of closet doors and all that ugliness. I think it makes it a lot simpler. But you could do this a couple ways. And you might not personally like how I did it there, friends, because I have 2 butt joints. And I would prefer if they were not there, certainly. But you could make this one continuous beam, but it would still need to be supported in the same place as it is already. I couldn't see any real advantage to making this a continuous beam. This beam turned out really well too, guys. And it's nice and flat along the top, but I'll just come and I'll plane all this. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. As much as I love my little crane here, friends, it sure wouldn't hurt if she had just a little more reach. Well, friends, it's always chaotic. Can you see me down here? It's always chaotic managing everything on these big lifts and trying to film, but luckily this little beam is so small it's impossible to tip the crane. But you know, sometimes I'm in this position lifting logs and I can tip the crane, and it's pretty chaotic. See if this beam wants to wrestle here. That hurts. There we go. Okay, I'll just leave this crane hooked up so this doesn't come crashing down. Beautiful. If I set this wood beam right on this concrete, it's gonna rot. It has to be protected. There has to be a layer there where the moisture can't travel from this concrete into the wood. And you'll notice too, when I set this beam in here, that this is larger than the beam itself, and that's so I can get airflow in here. I even trim this down so that it can breathe, especially the end grain. That's what really needs to be able to breathe. That's gonna work really nice. I'm excited to put the floor on here once these beams are set, but you know, I really need to. There's so much to do before winter, and it's really here any day. But these beams have sure worked out well. You know, it's really a cheap way to build structural beams. Beautiful. So friends, this beam turned out really good. I'm not quite done yet. I would like to get some joists holding this side to side, and then I can straighten it out a little better and then plumb this wall, because right now there's really nothing holding this beam at the top, and when you try and plumb the wall, of course, it's just moving this. So damn, am I excited to start setting joists on here. So getting water and power to this house has been one of the big projects of this year. We got the water line in here the other day. It's extremely cold here, so we buried it 9 feet deep. And then my neighbor had the good idea to sleeve it underneath, so we never had to dig up close to the footing. And I was able to get a sleeve in there, just driving it in with the hammer and not disturb any of the ground under my footing. So here's some clips from that little project. I'm trying to do this so that I disturb the ground as little as possible. That's why I'm doing it by hand, this first little stretch. I ain't digging just for fun, I'll tell you. I am extremely happy and grateful to have power to this site, especially before winter. And you'll see why, friends. Now, there's still a project to do to get it into the house and hooked up so that it's actually usable. But just another project that takes a lot of time thinking about and money, so it's slipped in the priorities for now. I know a lot of you friends really told me to go with solar power, and for new friends here too, like I actually used to live totally off grid in the bush for 3 years. And I had the little solar setup there. Nothing like what you would need here, but I kind of know what to expect. And I went deep into the numbers and seeing if there's any way to really power everything I want to do here. And I couldn't find any benefit in comparison. This is a long conversation though. I feel it seems like it would take a whole video to really cover everything that went through my mind in making the decision there. But nothing about this is simple. Designing a solar system, finding your requirements, you know, even the cost of power will be vastly different from me to you. The sun is most definitely different here, being as far north as I am. That's one of the big things. And I can't do it in 5 minutes. So I hope you guys can be patient with me, and maybe when I get a chance, maybe this winter, if I get time to really go over that, if you guys want me to. I'm really glad it's here, actually. Super grateful. Well, friends, thank you for watching another episode of Traplines and Inlines. I'm really excited here. Tomorrow we'll start slapping the floor onto this. There's a lot to do before winter. It's coming quick. So, friends, I hope you all enjoyed watching this one. I hope to catch you on the next one there. All the best to everybody.